This is 911. State your emergency. Hello? I can't help you if I don't know where you're at, honey. Where are you at? Where are you? I need as many units as I can get for Fairfield Road. Give me the numbers.
911, what's your emergency?
Hey friends, it's Fletch. I'm Vice President of Public Safety Solutions at 911 Inform. Welcome to this new podcast series, Off the Cuff, Confessions of an ENP. Brought to you by 911 Inform, delivering next-generation 911 services for the enterprise today and making every second count. In this series, we're going to be talking to ENPs that have been on the job for years, as well as those brand new ENPs that have just passed the test. We'll dig in and have an in-depth conversation and find out what the ENP certification means to them. We'll talk about why they did it, what it means for their career, and what they did to pass the exam. Industry certifications are important to industry professionals, and the ENP certification is one that's admired by many in public safety. So join me as we find out exactly what makes an ENP tick in this off-the-cuff podcast series, Confessions of an ENP. Hey everyone, welcome once again to Off the Cuff, True Confessions of an ENP. I'm your host, Mark Fletcher. I'm Vice President of Public Safety Solutions at 911 Inform, who sponsors this podcast. And with me today is another ENP down from the Nashville area. And I apologize for that pronunciation. Chris Burst, ENP from Williamson County, down there in just south of Nashville. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. So we've got a common friend in between us here, and I got to get rid of this right away because I do break his chops every possible chance that I get. So you actually said that somebody was your mentor. Absolutely.
Mr. Steve Martini up in Nashville. Used to be my director, now he's up in Nashville, but he still helps me out a lot. I've learned pretty much the way that I've done my career is based on some of the things he's told me to do. So I'm forever grateful for him.
The man walks around with a sweatshirt that says Martini Director on it.
Yes, he does.
I saw that. And I got my daughter up there, right? To meet him, gave my daughter a tour of the center, and I'm like, don't pay any attention to the shirt, sweetheart.
I promise you somebody important.
Yeah, I promise. I know I promise you something important. I know it's just Steve Martini. Hey, how you doing? But he impressed her. Of course, she's up in the Walmart. She lives in Hendersonville up there, and she's up in the Walmart one day, and she texted me about something or another. And of course, I had location services turned on her phone, and I look at her and see her. She's in the Walmart. I said, "Hey, what are you doing in Walmart?" And she goes, "How'd you know I was in Walmart?" I said, "You're over there standing by the clothing section." I said, "What are you buying?" And she goes, "How did you know that?" I said, "You remember Steve Martini?" Yeah. I go, "He's got eyes everywhere." Are you kidding me? And of course, I texted Steve. I go, "If you get a call, you were playing along." Of course, now she's going to be with me in Nashville, in Louisville at Nina, which is coming up, but probably going to be way after this podcast is going to air because I'm so backed up. But she's going to know that I was lying to her, so that's okay.
She's going to get you.
Yes, she is. I get her all the time, though. So anyway, this is about you. Yep. Congratulations on being a brand new ENP. What brought you through that road and got you on my podcast here today?
It's been a long road, that's for sure. I guess if you want to back up all the way to why I got in 911.
I do.
I think that I have a pretty similar story as a lot of other people. I wanted to be a police officer really, really bad. I was a explorer with the Boy Scouts of America. I went through that program. And then I was working at Kroger at the time, and a person that worked with me in customer service just so happened to be a dispatcher at a neighboring agency that I'm at right now. And she's like, "Why are you wasting your time here? Why don't you go be a dispatcher or go work in the jail or something?" And I really did not want to work in the jail.
Yeah.
So I decided, I was like, you know what, let's try this dispatcher thing. And another coworker of mine, she went to church with the director at a small town where I lived. And she said, I'll put a good word in for you. And I got an interview a couple weeks later, and I started my journey. That was in 2017.
Wow. I got to tell you, so I've known a lot of people in public safety, and I started out my career early on and knew a lot of people who were doing that. And I know, I'm going to say 7 or 8 people that went to the jail, not went to jail. I know a lot of people that went to jail, but went to the jail and became
Mhm.
guards. I don't know one of them that ever left that and got on the job. And it wasn't because they liked that job. It was just because they never got hired.
Maybe I got stuck. Yeah, and that's what I was worried about. And so I thought being a
It was like
dispatcher
they
was
had
going
a
to be
stench on them from the jail, and they got
absolutely.
stereotyped, and I could never figure out what that was.
I know that where I live, we also, in order to become a deputy in patrol, you had to go through the jail. So that was just something that I was just not fond of. So I just said, let's go be a dispatcher. Let's do something fun,
There you
you know?
go. And it can be fun. It sucks, no doubt about it. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed, but you know what? I never had so much fun than when I was a dispatcher.
Oh, I have fun every day. It's dynamic. I come in every day and I'm excited to be here. And I'm a supervisor now where I'm at, and being able to be around my people and truly help people on their worst days is the most important thing to me. And it's just, that's what's fun to me,
Oh,
is
wait,
getting
wait a
that.
minute, wait a minute, Chris. You're a supervisor now?
Yes, sir. I am.
You had Steve Martini as a mentor, and you still made it to be a supervisor.
Just barely, just barely.
Hang on a second. I need to just write that down. Okay. I just wanted to document that.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I became a supervisor last year. I've been doing that for about a year now.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, so the small town we were in, Spring Hill, it consolidated with Williamson County, and Steve was the director at Williamson County at the time. So we came together as one agency, um, and I kind of got my eyes open to the world of 911 being a career, and that was weird to me because I didn't think this was going to be a career,
Right.
and I just put my nose down to the grindstone, and anything people told me to do or to be a part of or to test for and all that kind of stuff, I just started doing it. And that's kind of how I led down to EMP. I got my RPL through the other agency, other national people. And I was like,
Those other guys. Yeah,
the other guys, the blue ones. And I was like, what's next? How can I push myself a little bit farther? And then I was told about the EMP program. I went through CMCP down in Georgia, and then
Who was
came
your
back.
instructor?
Paul Hicks.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Paul. He's awesome.
Good
He
guy.
did a great job. And then I came back up to Nashville and decided EMP was the route I was going to go. I did the study group with Tracy, and oh my gosh, unbelievable.
Now wait a second. Hang on. Martini as a mentor,
Yep.
Tracy as an instructor,
Yep.
and you still have a job?
Not only a job, but my EMP too.
She's like a sister to me, by the way. But you know what? I tell you, I love the fact that she's putting so many EMPs through, because
Absolutely.
again, it gives me an opportunity to break her chops on every single one of these. I love her to death.
She did a wonderful job. I
So
credit her.
what was the best thing about that class? What did you get out of that class that you don't think you would have gotten anywhere else?
Her method of teaching. It's very common terms. She doesn't go too high above everybody's head. And I really feel like if you're just sitting there reading the manual, sometimes it's so high level that you don't really know what you're reading. And she was able to break that down so well that when I got out of her class, combine that with reading the book, I felt 100%, well, maybe not 100%. I felt about 80% confident I was going to pass.
Wow. So after you sat down for the exam, did you do a virtual or in person?
I did it in person.
Okay. So after you sat down and it was pencils down time, when you handed that test in, how did you feel then?
So it's kind of a funny story. I misunderstood. I thought they were going to tell us in the office whether we passed or not. But so I sit down, and she's like, all right, let me just type some stuff up. And then she asked me, how do you feel? And I said, I don't know. I'm not super confident either way right now. So could you just tell me? And she looked at me, and there was another person that was in the office. And she said, well, you're going to get an email with your results, and I just wish you the best of luck. You're good to go. And I thought that she was trying to save me from the embarrassment of having somebody else in the room hear that I failed. So I go to my truck and I'm like, oh my gosh, I failed. I call my mom. I'm like, I failed. It's all over.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I get the email. I open it and it said pass. And I said, oh no.
So I sat for the test the first time I was an ENP. I actually sat for my first renewal. And then after that, I was on the NINA Institute board, and we're exempt from the test because we write the test, but we actually do take the test every year as we pick the new test forms for that year. We go through both tests every year. But I'll tell you, both times that I took it, I was confident as hell walking in, and I had my tail behind my legs walking out.
That's exactly how.
But back then, we got the pass-fail right there on the spot. I mean, you got a green dot, red dot right there in the computer. And both times I was like, oh my God. And boop, boop, they both dropped again. But, it's like,
imagine that last feeling extended out 30 minutes. And that's how it was.
I can't imagine that, man. And especially with you walking out thinking, oh my God, she just saved me the embarrassment. This is it. My career. I got to go back to work now and go, I didn't make it.
And tell everybody I failed. It's all over.
But don't you feel great after you get that pass?
Oh man, the relief. I think I probably teared up even then, just talking to my mom on the phone, talking about how much work I put into it. And I felt great.
Now, I love my mom dearly, and she's still with us. She's 93 years old. But I called my mother as well the first time I passed. And I said, Mom, I just passed my ENP. And you know what she said to me?
What'd she say?
Well, that's nice, honey. That's good for you. I'm very proud. And I'm like, that's right. You have no clue what this means, but okay.
I think my mom screamed and shouted with me. Luckily,
that's good that she knew what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then she said, I thought you already were an EMT. And I'm like,
oh, Mom, EMP in.
Oh, geez. And I'm like, yeah, Mom, I'm both. Okay. Well, good for you, sweetheart. I don't know what that means, but good for you. I never had the heart to tell her.
No. No, you worked years and years or a year for it or whatever.
But that's too much. Everybody, I love hearing the stories about EMP. But what was the final thing that got you to sit down and go, you know what, I got to do this?
When I graduated CMCP, that was really me and another coworker of mine. We spent our own money. We traveled on our own to go take the CMCP course.
Really?
We rented an Airbnb down in Forsyth, Georgia. We did our whole thing just by ourselves. And when I got done with that, and Paul Hicks, the instructor, he was very on about this is the next step in your career. This is what can progress you further and further along. And I have big dreams. I want to go places in this industry, and if that was what the way I get there, then I wanted to run that way. That was what I wanted to do.
Wow. That's interesting. I mean, I would say the bulk of the people do CMCP and then do their ENP. There's a small facet that do ENP first and then do the CMCP. But I think I remember on the NIB when we started, oh God, I want to say 6 or 7 years ago, about crafting that message in the CMCP or for them to present the ENP program. Yeah. And I was one of the ones that said, wait a minute, you're doing it backwards, because everybody I knew had done it the other way around, ENP first. And I was just shocked on how many CMCP people came into the ENP program. And then I realized, well, these are center managers, and the center manager course is what they need first. Mm-hmm. And the ENP is just the icing on top of that, so to speak. Both important.
Yeah, I see it the same way. I was so thankful that when we got done that he did go through that and explain the entire process. And so when we both left, we both felt very comfortable in the direction that we were going to run to try to achieve it.
Now, did you have any hope, or did you get any relief on your CMCP registration fees?
No. So me and her, we actually paid that 100% out of pocket.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I wish agencies would realize the value of these programs and at least subsidize or do scholarships or do something. And I know they can't send everybody through. That would be,
Right.
they just don't have it in their budget. I mean, they can't. People, how many people are you short in your center right now?
I think it's 11 right now.
What kind of percentage is that?
We hold 59 budgeted positions, so
Man.
yeah. I mean, we're a little short, but I will say, when we came back from CMCP and we told our managers about because they had gone through it, but when we came back and reinforced how great it was and what a great experience we had, they turned around and sent 2 people to the next one that they had.
Wow.
So I think they really understood, and I'm very thankful for the agency that I work for now, because as long as you can prove it to them, then they really do support you and push you and try to get the most they can for you. It was just with that specific thing, they couldn't fund it, and me and this other coworker said, "We're going to do it anyway. We're not going to take no for an answer."
Wow. So your mission now, Chris, part of your job is to be the spokesperson for all of this.
Absolutely.
Not only to the people under your command, but also to the people above your command, and make sure they understand the value of all this. And even when you're talking to the public or just anybody out there, you need to make sure that they understand, this is a career, this is a job, this is continuing education, this is how the best get to be the best. And we all have that mission to bolster the general awareness of the public. I had a woman in my office at my house here. Thank God my wife wasn't home. No. She was actually looking at solar for my house, because there's a lot of programs out there, and it turns out I can offset a lot of my solar bill by putting up some panels.
Okay.
So she's there. Well, wow, what's all this stuff, and what do you do? So I explained to her what I did. And she's like, "Oh my God, I had no idea. How about that?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, go right now and, let me show you what your cell phone thinks you are, as far as location. And now I'm going to send you a text message and simulate what 911 can see." And she's like, "Oh my God, we're in the left corner of your garage." I'm like, "Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I get about 3 feet accuracy with all the additional data here, right?" And she's like, "That's amazing." I'm like, "Yeah, they got to." The cell tower is a half mile up the street that way. If you're in the yard, you're going to hit the New York tower because it's got a better signal here, and they can't even transfer to the local 911 center. Oh my God, I had no idea. No kidding. Welcome to my world.
Exactly. And people do not know. I will say that's crazy how the general public has so limited knowledge about what we do or how it functions or the general of anything.
And you know what she said next?
What's that?
She goes, "I run into that same thing in my business. Now let me sit down and tell you how solar works."
So we try to sales pitch it at the end, right?
Actually, we laughed about that. I said that to her. I said, "Now why don't you sit down and explain to me the social economic values of having solar in my neighborhood?" She laughed. We actually had a good time. I turned what would have been a sales call into a really fun conversation, and she left here knowing probably more than she wanted to about 911.
Well, there you go. You educate at least one person. Maybe she'll go talk to somebody else about it, right?
But she's coming back, so that's
good,
great.
Great.
Because I had to do your podcast.
Yeah.
I said, I got to kick you out. I got to do a podcast. But you can come back, and we'll look at this. But anyway, no, that's fantastic. And I get commission if I sign anybody up. Are you interested in solar, Chris?
No, I don't think so. Not right now.
Could I possibly interest you in a referral? No. Because I get $500. No, okay, never mind. Anyway, so I totally lost my train of thought now with you. So that's where. So where do you want? You've already told me, but where do you think your career is going to go from here? What are you going to do now to expand your career further? Because you're not at the end.
What a great question. I asked.
That's why I'm the interviewer, dude. That's why I'm on this side.
My mentors that, and one of the best answers I got was, imagine your career is a mountain and you're taking a trek up the mountain, right? And the first part of that is pretty clear. So your RPL, your ENP, your CMCP, those classes is pretty clear. Now, they're not easy. It's difficult, but it's pretty clear what your path looks like. But at some point, you're going to reach a point that's straight up and down, and you have to grasp for every foothold and every handhold as you climb up. And that's going to be your little classes, your leadership classes, your think tanks, your conferences, those type of things, just to expand a little bit further. Obviously, I want to be a manager. I just started supervising, but I already know that I want to go into management and manage a 911 center for myself one day, and just doing everything I can to put myself in the best position possible for that.
Why do I hear Martini's voice when you were telling me that story?
It was him. That is correct.
I swear to God, I'm hearing Martini's voice in my head as the words are coming out of your mouth.
Yeah. I mean, we had that conversation over lunch.
He is such a great guy, man. I'm telling you, the 911. When I first met him, matter of fact, I told him, I said, let me tell you something. You are going to be a leader in this industry. And when he told me he was moving on first to, I forget when he moved, I think he moved to Brentwood after Chattanooga, wasn't it?
That was it. Yeah.
Yep. And, that was a good step for him because of what Brentwood is, right? And the response, little town, but very important with a lot of high-powered people. He learned a lot there, man. So yeah, that's cool.
I hope that one day I get to make that same transition, whatever it looks like, to go into management and just be able to run some center myself, or be an operations manager or something at that level. Because I love this, and I want this to be my career for
forever,
35 years, 40 years, however long it needs to be. But I really want to be a part of it for a long time.
So what are you going to do to foster your replacement?
Right now, I'm already training the next supervisor. We're starting an officer in charge OIC program.
Nice.
And that person that's with us, we're already talking about how do you do my job, but not only how you do my job, but how do you expand your career? Do you want me to help you find courses or scholarships, or I want to help you? So whatever I can do for you and anybody else on my shift, let's go ahead and knock it out. I have one that's into peer support. That's her big thing. And being able to find her classes or scholarships for that is awesome.
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah. And again, to go back to Tracy, the PTSD stuff that she does and the peer support that you just talked about, these are important parts of the job, because when these things are ignored, this is what festers in dispatchers and makes them go, screw this shit. I am out of here. It's not enough money to take this kind of crap every day. And that's what's wrong with this industry.
Absolutely. And it's right at the 5 to 7 year mark, which is so unfortunate, because that's right when we need you the most. That's right when we want you to keep going. Yeah. And your experience now, you know what you're doing. We want you to stay. And then, you don't get taken care of, not by management's detriment or by anybody in particular, but just because you're just working our job, and our job's stressful by nature, and you're not getting taken care of. And, if you don't have those peer supporters, that leads to burnout, and burnout leads to a very quick resignation I've seen. So we like to do as much as we can not to have that happen. We have started and are continuing to support a peer support program here, which has already worked wonders for a couple of our trainees going through some stuff. And we hope to continue that, truly.
Wow. So I'm going to do something I've never done before.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the prize is going to be, but I'm going to figure out something that I've got in my prize bag over here. If you can guess within $1,000 what my starting salary as a dispatcher was in 1980, you win a great prize.
17,000 yearly.
$9,600.
Oh my gosh. Not even close. I can't imagine doing this job for that.
Now, it was 1980.
True.
But that still sucked. It was, we calculate, I tell you, but you know what? I never thought about this, but this is a great point. So 1980, 4 decades ago.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, am I old? We were just above minimum wage.
Yeah.
And we actually qualified for welfare.
Oh.
And to get one of our raises, we actually threatened the town manager that we were going to go to the newspaper with that little tidbit of information. And that got us a little bit, didn't get us enough.
God, I can't even imagine. I started in 2017 at, I think, $12 an hour.
Wow.
So
it was $9,613, actually. I remember the amount specifically.
The extra $13 really helps, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm telling you, baby. You know, that made it. It's damn near $1. It's $1.33 a month.
There you go. Yeah, I think we, even 4 decades later, I feel like we're still grossly underpaid for the job that we do. I'm
Absolutely.
sure you agree with that.
But that's how long. This is nothing new, right?
Right.
Well, the economy has gone bad in the last 10 years. No. This is 1980, folks.
We've been doing this for a while. Yeah.
Been a problem.
Yeah, and especially with adding job complexity.
Dude, I didn't even have the only computer I had. I say this every time. People that listen to this all the time, they're going to get sick of this, but I had one computer I could do DMV lookups on. And that was it. Everything was written out on paper complaints and typed. And then we went to the Lear system, which was a punch card, but we had to write everyone out and put all the complaints in the blotter, which was this big ass book, and write them all out.
Did you, I don't know how big your agency was, but I'd heard that some agencies had the punch tickets and they had almost like a bank teller chute where they put it in there. Do you guys have that?
We had a single call taking position, but there was actually a belt that ran, depending where you were, up and down or side by side. There were agencies that had a belt, and you would do call taking, write the ticket out, put it in a slot, and the belt would take it down to the next person that was, dispatch, and they would pull it out, and then they would dispatch. And
now your call takers and dispatchers don't even have to be in the same room anymore.
Yeah.
Is that crazy? I mean,
that's right. Well, look at Martini up in Nashville. He's got call taker dispatch on different floors.
Yeah, only radio communications top and bottom. Yeah, it's
I'm not sure that's a good design or not, but
No,
hey, when you got a Martini director running the place, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
he had problems. Just to tell you what kind of shit he runs into, he had problems with the bathrooms up there.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and they had to dig up the whole parking lot or something. They had to put latrines outside. And I'm like, you're already taking a crappy job, and now you're making your call takers go outside into a porta-john? Holy crap. Literally.
We're very fortunate here at Williamson to have a brand new, I think it was built in 2016, EOC type, huge building, tornado proof, all that good stuff.
Wow.
So I don't think we have that many issues with the bathrooms. Thank goodness.
How many other ENPs you got in your agency?
One.
One other?
One other, yeah. So I was the second to achieve.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, but you got some in the wings, though.
I hope so. I've already had people since I got mine. They have come up to me and said, "What's the process? Show me what I need to achieve in order to get to where you got." And I'm happy to share it with them.
Cool. No, that's great. So what about paying for the testing? Do you have funding for that, or?
I honestly don't know. No, I don't know if anybody's approached them about funding yet. I got my funding through our state board, TINA board.
Yep.
They gave me a scholarship ticket.
Who's running TINA now?
Oh, good question. Who is our president? Eric Carpenter, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I think it's our president now. But they did a great job. They have a committee that handles just giving out EMP scholarships. And I was fortunate enough to receive one of those. So I'm very grateful.
Of course, when I talk about TINA up here in the north, people say, "Who the hell's TINA?"
That's what they say down here too. Not many people know about them.
I said it's Nina's sister.
Yeah.
Who the hell is Nina?
Yeah.
No, that's great. So what do you think about the support that you get from the state overall around 911?
I think there's always room for improvement. I think that's with anything. I think Tennessee, I know in years past, they've really been seen as the leading edge of 911. We pushed really hard. We had the state EZNet and all that good stuff. So we're pushing, but I think we are doing a good job of not being the bleeding edge of technology. So we're not hurting while we're doing it, but we're leading as fast as we can. But you look at states like Alabama, who are doing these unbelievably great things, and you wonder, could we be doing a little bit more? You know,
How come nobody talks about Alabama? I know
I have
people
no
in
idea.
Alabama, and everybody down there is doing wonderful things, but
Yes.
you never hear about Alabama, in the news. Why?
I think it's a stereotype, but man, they are really pushing to get 911 being better funded, better equipment, next generation 911 compliant all across the state. They're really pushing it.
I could Alabama in the stereotype. I can have fun with that too, but I won't. I know people there.
Yeah.
I know people well down there that I could, but the rest of the world would not understand.
Not unless you live down here, right?
There's some great people down there, and it's the day I spent out in Haleyville, I was there for the 50th 911 day parade. I actually got to be with one of the parade marshals, a co-parade marshal with Alicia Burns, Steve Souter, myself, and Christy Williams, and that was pretty good. We ran out of gas right after the parade in the parking lot.
Well, at least we were already done, right?
Yeah. That was a good day though. That was great. The people down there, I mean, literally the parade was about 3 blocks long and the whole town was out. It was just, I could not believe how this entire town came out for 911 day. And it was just like, it's a big, big thing down there. They are so
take pride in it.
What's that?
The citizens take pride in that. Like,
oh God, like
really?
You would swear they're in public safety, Chris. I mean, it's like it's 911 day. I mean, it's bigger than a lot of other events I've gone to in the public safety industry. The
That's
entire town comes out. Granted, it's a small place. I think it's only 8,000 people, but the entire town comes out.
Wow. I don't think there's that kind of support anywhere in the country for 911 like that.
No. It's funny. I mean, it's like, and they've got everything in there. There's garbage trucks in the parade, right? I mean, now it was a nice, fresh, clean garbage truck and it was all decorated up nice. But I mean, everybody's in the parade. The ambulance is in the parade. The fire truck is in the parade. The garbage truck is in the parade. And both police cars,
Did you get to see the original phone and everything?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That was the last time it was going to be in Haleyville. From there, it was getting shipped up to the Law Enforcement Museum in Washington, D.C.
Is that where it is now?
That's where it is now, yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
And, the Law Enforcement Museum is a cool place. Look, they got a lot to do. They don't have any funding and either, typical. But I think they could have done a more prominent job on the 911 phone. I think it's a little tucked away in a little corner. It's there. I'm glad it's someplace. I think they could have made it a little more prominent. But, when you walk in the door, the first thing you see is a helicopter hanging from the ceiling, which was the helicopter that rescued all those people out of the Potomac on the Air Florida crash on the bridge.
Wow.
Oh, I mean, that's what people want to go say. Oh, look, there's a helicopter right there. Yeah. Yeah, sure. I understand. And the phone is like downstairs and it's kind of off to the side. I'm glad it's there. I just wish they would have done a little better because it is the first responder of 911, right? So
it's the very first.
I think they could have done a little more.
And
personal opinion.
I hope that I get the opportunity to go up there and see it because just the history of it alone is amazing.
People don't understand it. I'm glad you do. It's comforting to you and I need to hang out more, dude. You're an amazing person.
Thank you.
The only fault I've found with you is Director Martini.
I think a lot of people would call that a pro though, so it's all good.
Well, he would, but hanging out with a Martini director, I have to bust his chops. Well, listen, this has been an insightful podcast, man. Anything you want to say to somebody looking this, coming into this career brand new? What's your advice for them to get where you are, Chris?
The number one thing that I would say is get a mentor. Find somebody that is taking an interest in your career as hard as you're taking an interest in your career. And it's going to be tough. You're going to face a lot of challenges. But when you hit those walls, you only got one or two options: to go through them or to go back. And you need to go through them because it's worth it. It's worth it at the end.
Get a mentor as long as it's not.
Do what? I'm sorry?
I said, get a mentor as long as it's not.
Steve Martini, because that's
there you go. You heard it here first, folks. Hey, listen, buddy, thank you very much. Thank you for what you do, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You've got a stellar career behind you. I don't know you. I just met you today, and I'm incredibly proud of what you've done with your entire career moving forward from day one. It's amazing. And to get to where you are is just an inspiration, I think, to other people in this industry. So I'm honored to have you on the podcast here today, my friend.
And I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much.
All right. Good deal. Well, you have a great day.
You too, sir.
Well, that wraps up this episode of Off the Cuff, Confessions of an ENP. I'm Mark Fletcher, ENP, and I'm the Vice President of Public Safety Solutions at 911 Inform. Off the Cuff is sponsored by 911 Inform, delivering next-generation 911 solutions to the enterprise today and making every second count. Visit them on the web at 911inform.com. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at Fletch911. Check out all my blogs and podcasts at Fletch.tv. And be sure to like and subscribe below. That way you'll be immediately notified whenever a new podcast is published. Thanks so much for listening. If you're in public safety, thanks for what you do. Take care and have a great day.